Hey man, what up man? What's going on YouTube? Hey, we're back with another NBA Best Bets video. I got two best bets in this video. We're going to be going over every single game today. There's 7 games. Let's get right to it. But first, let's show you the recap of yesterday. A nice winning day, a nice bounce back from Friday. Nice winning day, man. Up 1.6 units. Tyrese Halliburton does not get there. Shoots pretty poorly in that game. Rudy Gobert crushes for us. Donovan Mitchell crushes for us. For the little same game parlay there, Asar Thompson doesn't get it done. And then in two little NFL plays there, Austin Eckler crushes for us. So up 6.7 units for the year now and up 3 units for the week. Let's end this week off in the green. The first game today is going to be the San Antonio Spurs at the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat a little bit favored here. 3.5 point favorites now. I still don't trust the Heat. I know Jimmy Butler came back last game and had a decent game versus the Nuggets, scoring like 16 to 18 points. I want to say he scored 17, 18 points, somewhere in that range. Not a bad game for Jimmy Butler because right before he got suspended, he was kind of not playing very well. Right here in this game, I kind of lean the Spurs still now. I was leaning the Spurs the last couple games, and they've went out there and they have lost 2 straight. They've actually lost 5 of their last 6, but they have covered the spread 6 of their last 8 on the road. So 6-2 in their last 8 ATS against the spread on the road, and I still don't mind them, man. I just don't trust the Heat. Now, some player props here. There's some solid player props in this game, in my opinion, because Heat aren't that great versus spot-up shooters. Harrison Barnes does shoot a decent amount of spot-up shots. Not a bad look there for Harrison Barnes. Over the last couple games, has kind of started picking it up. Chris Paul, 8.5 points. He just hasn't been going over that. It's Chris Paul. He either gets up 10 shots and hits it, or he goes out there and gets up 3 shots and just dishes out assists all night. Another Spurs player I don't mind. I mean, Wembanyama. I've liked him the last couple games, and he's just been shooting very poorly. This might be a spot where he bounces back, but I'm just not trusting it here. Probably my favorite Heat player. I got 2 Heat players that I don't mind here, and it's Bam Adebayo over points, and I say that strictly off of Bam Adebayo versus the Spurs when he's faced up versus Wembanyama. He's went over this line, I think, 2 of 3 versus Wembanyama, if I'm not mistaken, or at least had a pretty solid game versus Wembanyama. So if you're not minding Adebayo today, I don't mind it. Yeah, just checking Bam's game log versus Wembanyama, 24 points and 20 points. Now, one of those games did get up 20 shot attempts, and the other game shot 71%. So I'm not guaranteeing that Bam's going to shoot 71%. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to get up the volume either. I think my favorite player here would probably be Tyler Hero over assists, and it's strictly off of the same reasoning that we just had a couple nights back with Ja Morant. I like his over assists. I would play it at minus 139. I would play it at minus 140. I like all the lines there. I would play it anything under minus 140 because he drives the most on the Heat. If you are looking, the Spurs, when they allow a lot of players, whoever drives the most on that opposing team against them is hitting their assists because they'll drive, get by their guy, and they're either shooting a floater or they're dishing it out because they're not always attacking Wemby every time. So as long as the Heat can hit some shots tonight, I like Tyler Hero over assists there. Bam over points. Those would be my 2 stronger leans there for the Heat. Let's move on to that next one. Hopping over to the second game, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets at the Orlando Magic here now. Orlando Magic plus 7.5 here, and at home they've been wagons at covering. If you're looking over the last 26 games at home, they've covered 19 of their last 26 at home. But I do got to say, over their last 5 games, even with Paolo Banchero, they have the worst offensive rating in the NBA. Got to play devil's advocate there because the Nuggets defense is not very great still. Even over the last 5-10 games, they've just been putting up a lot of points. In my opinion, I view this game a lot like when the Magic just played the Celtics. Nuggets might just have too much scoring here. Now, I would say Nuggets defense isn't great, especially on the road here. I don't know if I love it, but I just don't know if the Magic have enough scoring unless if you think Paolo Banchero scores 30 points today versus the Nuggets. Nuggets interior defense isn't that great. They aren't the greatest in, right at the rim in that restricted area, guarding that area. So Paolo could have a day today. But in my opinion, I think the Nuggets could just put up 120 points and Magic just don't have enough scoring. Now, Magic against the spread at home are pretty solid. So plus 7.5 a solid number to still grab. I think for me, I am staying away from that spread. I could see a world where Nuggets beat the Magic by 20, and I could see a world where the Magic possibly even win this game because their defense is pretty solid, even though over the last 5 games hasn't been that great. It's not that typical Orlando Magic defense, and even though Paolo's back, their offense just hasn't been great. Total, staying away from it for the same reasons I just kind of talked about on the spread there. Player props, Russell Westbrook, RA, I think, is a solid look just because he hasn't been even grabbing boards as of late. So I like him to grab some boards there. Michael Porter Jr., man, he's been selling us. If you've been in the VIP, I have been taking Michael Porter Jr. over 15.5 assists. He's been, or over 15.5 points. He's been selling. Seems like with Aaron Gordon, all those guys healthy, all those wings. They're playing Julian Strother, I think's his name. They're a lot. They're playing Peyton Watson a lot. They're kind of rotating those wings a decent amount to where it's Michael Porter Jr. He can still shoot lights out. I would lean the over, but honestly, man, right now with what they're doing and how they're playing those wings, I would be staying away from it. But it is Michael Porter Jr. He's had good games versus the Magic, and it's Michael Porter Jr. Man, he can shoot crazy. Magic players, honestly, man, it would only be Paolo, but I'm not trusting Paolo in this game, and I just think there's too many variables in this game for me to really feel confident playing anything in it. So I'm going to go on to the next game between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. I like some plays in this game. Philadelphia 76ers, they are on a back-to-back. They're not the greatest team on a back-to-back. But for the Bucks here, minus 11.5. I mean, that 76ers defense, I always say they're not bad, but over the last 3 games, they've allowed 115, 125, and 118 points. Now, they did allow that to the Thunder, the Knicks, and the Pacers, all 3 of those teams, probably amongst the top in the NBA in offensive rating and, just net rating, period, over the last 15, 20 games. Knicks maybe not so much, but those other 2 have been playing great ball over the last 10 games. Milwaukee Bucks, they've been playing great ball over the last 10 games. They just smoked the Raptors, smoked the Magic, they smoked the Kings. The Kings over the last 10 games since they fired Mike Brown have been playing pretty well. So, kind of another game. I could see Tyrese Maxey having a game here, but that's what I think is going to happen, is you have to have Tyrese Maxey have a crazy game or Paul George have a crazy game. In my opinion, I lean a lot more Milwaukee Bucks props in this game more than I do anything else. Guys have crushed in this matchup, and there's a lot of solid spots, man. Giannis, Damian Lillard, I lean both of those guys' points, PRAs over. Damian Lillard's had huge games versus the 76ers, and if you're looking at the 76ers versus the point guards, I mean, they're just allowing a lot of assists. That's why I like Tyrese Halliburton yesterday, PRA. Hell, I could run it back on Damian Lillard today, who probably will get up more shot volume and probably shoot maybe a little bit better. But I lean heavy on Damian Lillard over PRA. It's kind of one of those spots where I lean those guys heavy on the overs that I kind of almost want to stay away from because I just lean them all over. Giannis, another guy, I lean his over PRA. Same thing. At home, the reason why I stayed away from Giannis and Lillard, mainly Giannis on his assists, even though I think Giannis' assists at 5.5 is a steal today, because with Chris Middleton back in that lineup, he hasn't been going over it as much, but against the 76ers, a sweet spot there. Bobby Portis, that is my first best bet in this game. Bobby Portis, man, over 19.5 points plus rebounds. I love the spot for Bobby Portis today, and here's why. Looking at some stats, man, he's hit this 2 straight versus the 76ers. Now, there is going to be no Joel Embiid, so it's going to be just Andre Drummond, and Andre Drummond just came back from injury last game, and now is playing on a back-to-back because they just played last night. I wouldn't be surprised if Andre Drummond doesn't play today or just doesn't play a lot of minutes, to where that 76ers team still has hardly anybody in the paint to guard the paint there. But over the last 10 games, if you're looking at it, Bobby Portis has games of putting up 5 points and then grabs 11 boards. He might put up 16 points, grabs 4 boards. Kind of a little wishy-washy on putting both solid games between points and rebounds. Last 3 versus the 76ers has only hit at 1 of 3. So you're like, bro, why are you taking this play? Well, he did land on the hook of 19 in one of those games. Only had 3 rebounds in that game. Right now, 76ers are getting just destroyed by centers, by big men, even guys off the bench that are playing 20, 25 minutes. If you're looking, Wizards backup center Rashawn Holmes had 28 rebound chances off the bench versus this 76ers team. He only grabbed 11, but 28, like crazy. Now, another stat I like here, very kind of take it with a grain of salt, however you're trusting this stat. If you like days of the week here, dating back to the start of the 2022 season, Bobby Portis has hit this line 10 of 13 on home Sunday games. So on Sundays, at home, he's hit it 10 of 13. I don't know what it is, but at home on Sundays, man, this man balls. He either hits his line alone on points or has a just monster rebound game, 10 rebounds, like 13 points. Like, he just crushes at home on Sundays. Now, that's not the main reason I like it. I really like it because of the 76ers, but another spot just to put the cherry on top. I really love that spot there for Bobby Portis. That's the first best bet. 4th game on the NBA slates between the Nets and the Thunder. But before we get to this game, drop a like if you've made it this far in the video. If you've been enjoying my past 6, 7 videos where we just go game by game, giving you guys some picks and leans, and let me know how you've been feeling about it, man. But game right here, Nets, Thunder. I don't like this game. I don't like it. I don't like it. Nets, they're terrible right now, man. Now they did just lose only by 1 to the Lakers. What did I say? Lakers never beat anybody by more than 10 points. It doesn't matter if they're facing a middle school AAU team. They're not beating a team by 10 points. And if they do, if they're favored by 10 or more, they're going to probably beat them by 10 or more, maybe 1 every 4. Like, that's just how the Lakers are, man. This game, I think this is just too much blowout potential. This game could be just how that Clippers game was a couple nights back, where literally the Clippers beat the Nets by like 60. It wouldn't surprise me if that happens again. Now, they are a little bit more healthier than Nets this time around. They are going to have D'Lo. It looks like some of those guys are going to be healthy. I can't sit here and say I love the Thunder minus 17, but also I'm not taking anything in this game. This is one game that I'm like, out of all the 7 games today, I didn't look much at this game. Just because Thunder at home, they could beat the Nets by 30, 40 here, to where I'm not big on taking first half player props or like first half props, really. I like more full games and stuff. So for me, staying away from it. Moving on to the next game, Lakers at the Clippers. First glance, when I looked at this game last night, I like the Clippers, man. I like the Clippers. Now, that spread last night when I looked at this game was 2.5. It was at 2.5. Now, some question marks here. James Harden looks like he's questionable. Norman Powell looks like he's questionable. Ivica Zubac looks like he's questionable. So, not a lot of props to go off here to where I know what I like here. Now, I will say, if James Harden goes, I'm looking at James Harden points plus assists, PRAs, if he goes and the line makes sense. If his points line's around 19.5, 20.5, and his assist line's around 7.5, 8.5, I like his over PA there. That's what I'm looking at, but there's no lines out right now for him. So I don't know what to expect. I have seen this happen already multiple times just this week, where I lean a team here like the Clippers, but then for props, there's not a lot of props out for those guys. Some guys probable or questionable, and then right before game time, they rule out a couple guys. So for me, I'm staying away from this game because I don't know what to expect now. If James Harden goes and they still have Kawhi, but maybe they don't have Norman Powell, I still lean the Clippers. I mean, I just think Lakers might have more scoring, but I trust the Clippers defense. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I trust the Clippers defense. Just how I did a couple nights ago with the Thunder. And close spreads like this, I usually go with the better defense. And that's just how I like to roll with it, man, because Lakers, they don't beat anybody by more than 10 points. And even if they're up by 10 points at some point in this game, they'll let the other team come back. And I think if they let the Clippers come back, I think that Clippers defense will be able to hold off that Lakers a little bit more than what the Clippers or that Lakers offense will just be able to keep on continuously putting up points versus the Clippers. So my favorite play in that game would be James Harden, PRA, points plus assists, overs if his lines come out at those lines I just listed. Lakers players, I don't mind Austin Reeves in some way today. 18.5 points, even 6.5 assists. They're still in LA. I mean, I know it's a road game technically, but out LA, he has just been hitting that line crazy. So I lean his points plus assists over. That's how I'm feeling about that game, man. AD, LeBron. It's AD and LeBron, just kind of how I feel about Shea and some other games and big stars. Like, I'm more likely going to lean those guys over. LeBron's had some good games versus the Clippers. AD doesn't seem to always put everything together. Like, he might have a big scoring game or a 20-point scoring game and then grabs 15 boards. Like, he doesn't put points plus rebounds really together against the Clippers. But for me, staying away from that game just because too many injury question marks at this time that I'm making this video. And we're moving on to the next game. Second to last game here. I like this game. That is a big spread today, minus 17, way more than I do the Nets Thunder game. And it's going to be the Washington Wizards at the Sacramento Kings here. Kings, 17-point favorites. And Kings, they have been picking it up over their last 10, man. 8-2 in their last 10. They're playing a lot quicker. They are playing a lot quicker under under Christie. So, in this game, I still lean the over. 233, I lean the over. Now, you've heard me say it. The only time the Wizards don't really hit these high props, or high totals, is because usually they don't put up more than 105 points. The Kings, they're playing a lot quicker. Wizards already play fast. Wizards are on a back-to-back, but they still hit overs, even on back-to-back. So, it's really, do you trust the Wizards to put up 105, 110 points? If you do, take the over full game. That's where I'm at with it. 17.5 for that spread. I can't recommend the Kings, even though they are playing great. Now, I do have a best bet in this game, but I want to talk about some player props here. So if you're a player prop guy or girl, listen up here, man, because Domantas Sabonis, assists, His rebounds today is at 16 and a half, 15 and a half. To me, I lean the under on that. I know it's Sabonis. I know it's a sweet matchup, but that is just such a high line. You will never hardly ever see guys rebound props going into a game at 16 and a half. Like, that's just crazy to see. I lean the under. His assists, though, I do lean his over at 6.5. Now, a lot of games has landed on 7. If you're looking just over his last 10 games for Sabonis, 5 games he's landed on 7. So it's not like he's crushing this, but he is hitting it. If you are looking, Domantas Sabonis last year or this year, when they have beat a team by 15, 20 points, he smacks this line. Points, when they beat a team by 15, 20 points, or rebounds and they beat a team by 15, 20 points, talking about the Kings, he doesn't really necessarily hit that all the time, but he hits his assist line a lot when the Kings beat other teams and blow out other teams by 15, 20 points. So even though if this game you're worried about a blowout, that would be the one prop I would be leaning over in that game. Some other guys, there's some spots there, they're good against the Wizards, but that's my favorite prop. But my favorite play in this game for the second best bet is going to be the Kings team total over 124.5 points. Now, I know that's kind of high, man. If you want to take the full game over, you think the Wizards contribute to that over, take it. But I like the Kings team total over 124 for good reason, man. The Wizards have allowed 120 plus points in 5 straight. They've allowed 120 points in 9 of the last 12. In those 9 that they hit in the last 12, they allowed 130 in 6 of those 9. So they've just been allowing a lot of points, man. Like I said, Kings playing at the 8th fastest pace over the last 10 games. They're picking up their pace now with under Christie, and their offensive rating is 4th best over the last 10 games. Put them at home, it makes it even sweeter, man. So I like the Kings over 124.5 points there. If you think the Wizards contribute to it, take the full game over. That's how I'm feeling there. That is the second best bet. Last game on the board, and I have another heavy lean in this game as well. So let's move to the last game. Chicago Bulls at the Portland Trailblazers. First glance, lean the Bulls. Lean the Bulls. I leaned the Bulls last game versus the Wizards, and I was on my live on the app that, just got banned, but rip. Chicago Bulls, I did lean them last game versus the Hornets. They were 4.5-point favorites. Hornets go out there and actually win. We had some people in my live saying, hey, man, Hornets going to play competitive there. And you know what? Look, Hornets played competitive. I've been saying it. Trailblazers, they only hang in these games. If you look at the Trailblazers' schedule, man, they have 13 wins. If you look at a lot of these games that they either win or they are losing by like 5 points, it's because they shoot lights out from 3. So Bulls, they're not the greatest defensive team here. They're not the greatest defensive team. So I do lean the Bulls, but if the Trailblazers could go out there and shoot crazy, so I'm not loving anything in that game. My favorite play in this game, now I have not taken it as official play, but if more lines come out on sportsbooks, I'm hitting at it to you guys. I kind of like it. It would be Zach LaVine over points. Now, right now for Zach LaVine over points, I see it on DraftKings at 26.5 at -120. I see it on FanDuel at 26.5 at +102, and then I see Bet Rivers, which is in Indiana, around the Midwest here, 26.5 at -118. I'm kind of waiting for some more books to come out, like BetMGM, Caesars, Hard Rock, ESPN Bet, because I really hope that line, I kind of hope it goes down to 25.5. If it goes down to 25.5, or if I see it start to creep up over 26.5, we'll see, man. But I really hope it goes down to 25.5 because I want to take it at 25.5 there for Zach LaVine over points. That's all I'm really liking in that game. Isolation, players in transition. I mean, everything, man. Just everything lines up for a great matchup for LaVine. Last couple games versus the Trailblazers, dropping 30 points against Western Conference teams, dropping 20-plus points in almost every one of those games. So when he goes up against a Western Conference team, it's sweet. And it's a sweet matchup here versus the Trailblazers and with how that Trailblazers defense is playing. So heavy lean there to Zach LaVine. I really wanted to get down to 25.5, and I would take it. No Trailblazers players I'm trusting. They're just all too inconsistent, man. Like I said, if they have a lot of guys that shoot high volume, but they can shoot terrible. They got a lot of guys that are getting up 15, 20 shots a game, but they're all shooting like 40 to 45%. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe. They just got too many guys with not great shooting percentages. If they shoot well, they can stay in that game. They can even win that game. But I think that Bulls offense, no matter what, they're going to put up points. It's just, can the Trailblazers stay hot? Can they shoot well? To me, I think it's too many variables. I like the player props in that game a little bit more. But hey, 7-game NBA slate, not a huge slate today. Some plays I really, really am dialed in on there, and some I'm just kind of waiting on some more news or more sports books to come out with lines. So hey, if you're feeling any of these plays today, if you've been tailing any of the best bets in the video and you've been cashing alongside us, drop a like, man. Let me know in the comments if you came from the app that just got banned. If you're coming from that app, let me know, man, because, we're trying to grow this YouTube one day at a time. Absolutely on the grind, man. Going game by game, talking every game, giving out some stats, giving out some leans, giving out some best bets, and cashing along the way. If you're ever wanting to join any type of Discord, VIP, get active in the comments. I'll get it over to you guys, man. It's real easy, real simple. But I appreciate you guys. Let's have a good day, man. Let's end this week in the green, up 3 units for the week, still up for the year. Let's continue rolling, man. Let's get a little sweep today. You feel me? Let's go.